had an opportunity to be educated and learn a lot about how businesses operate. I've got a master's of business administration degree, so I feel that I can be an asset to anybody about the operation or function or profitability of a business. And I took a position down in Galveston, Texas, back in 2018, and for whatever reason, it didn't work out like it had planned. So I was looking for other things to do so that I could just remain in Texas and not have to relocate again, because I really enjoyed it down here. So what I did was I was looking at a number of different options, and when I came across Vested, I actually played back the introductory video that's on our website, and then I had a conversation with the CEO, which is Nathan Goldstein, and he told me that there's really no reason not to give it a try, and he said that his system is so unique and is so superior to anything out there in real estate that you're going to really be amazed when you get a chance to see it. So I started the training and started to look for my first listing. So I found that the most exciting thing that I saw was the fact that BrokerNet could be pretty much your entire technology behind what you do, providing buyers, finding leads and cold, providing for opportunities to do everything from a listing agreement all the way through to the closing table with everything that's available, but also the amount of support that you get, the amount of ongoing online and weekly training that goes on to support the system is tremendous. And that's the reason that I came on board with Vested, is I didn't see anything that was closely resembling the system there. The specific unique processes in BrokerNet that are unique to Vested are critical, and ongoing training, because people change. The pandemic came through. We're in a recessionary period, whether or not you call it a recession or not, and it seems that the times change and the technology needs to change with it. And also, the support that we get is critical. I mean, we can reach out to anyone in the organization, whether that's staff people, my broker colleagues, or even to Marie and Nathan Goldstein, the founders of Vested. Many companies that I've worked with, access to the CEO is limited at best, and Nathan actually welcomes the communication from brokers to help put through deals that some get a little sloppy, get a little messy sometimes, and tries to hold those deals together. So it's a very unique situation, and there's always ongoing training and support on various aspects of brokering. And I think that Vested tries to focus on the areas that seem to be most immediately needed during the current period of time. Probably two roadblocks. One in the beginning is getting that first listing, because once you get that first listing, then the buyers start coming in through the BrokerNet system, and then call it the magic starts to work as far as the number of people you get to talk to and interact with. And the support you need there is to encourage you to get out there and literally, beat the pavement, do the work to find those listings, and or work closely with the call center that's available to us, basically free of charge. So why not use those to our advantage? And the support we get too is in starting out, they'll do marketing efforts for us that if we pick a particular zip code and pick an industry, that they will literally send postcards out to hundreds of business owners asking whether or not they're interested in selling their business. And they do it all on behalf of you, the specific broker. And I found that to be very interesting. So the time to getting your first listing is a very big obstacle. Right now, laundromats are extremely hot in Texas, not just because it's summertime and it's hot anyway, but it's an absentee, semi-absentee business that most people can run and still stay in their corporate America jobs. So they like that idea. However, the inventory of laundromats for sale is very limited. So when I get a listing that's a laundromat, it doesn't stay on the marketplace very long. And that's good and bad, because the longer the listing stays up, if it's an attractive listing, the more buyers are attracted to it, and the more buyers that I accumulate make it easier for me to have people that are connected to me electronically that can go out and buy another business without even my assistance. So laundromats right now are, and every laundromat, even though you might think of a laundromat as down here we call them washaterias, and primarily they're everywhere. There's a lot of them, but because of the absentee owner nature of the business, the sellers are rarely around. So trying to locate them and ask them if they're willing to sell their business now or in the future doesn't happen very often. So when I get a listing, it's hot, it gets a lot of attention, and sometimes the follow-up is, sometimes a couple of days to a week after a buyer inquires, because there's so many of them coming in on that particular listing. Best thing that I can say is that the relationships that I develop with buyers are such that they engage me, and what they want me to do is find them a business, and then they earmark me, if you want to call it that, to work with them on finding other businesses. So they're using me as a broker of choice, primarily because of the variety and the extensive nature of all the listings that we have at Vested, as well as the tenured amount of closings that we've had on businesses. And what I mean by that is, after 23 years of being in business, we have historical records that can go and help us value businesses, create a valuation of a business, to be able to show them what the current multipliers are of sold businesses in that industry, which is a remarkable statistic to have in your favor. And so the success story that I have is that once I engage a buyer, they stay with me and they really enjoy the Vested system. So they want to use me and the system for future purchases that aren't even here yet. A lot of factors to go into that. Number one, everybody uses the cash flow, the owner's cash flow from the business, as the primary number that's important in the process. And so with that number, we have to work with the seller to determine exactly what that number is, not that it's misrepresented. So once you have the cash flow number, then there's a multiplier that we can use that determines what the value of the sale should be. So for instance, in the laundromat industry, as long as we're there, historically, the multiplier for a sold laundromat is about 2.67. So you would take the owner's cash flow times that number, and that would give you the average estimated selling price of that business if that cash flow is represented appropriately. Now, that doesn't mean that you list the business at that number, but that's traditionally how they, and historically, how they've been selling. And once they've been selling like that, you know that you're going to get to a point where that number is real. Follow the training and following the advice. And I know it sounds really cliche, but go get your listings. Do whatever the system will give you, all the resources you have to get your listing, and don't stop at one. Just keep going until you've got a good 10 listings that you're working with solidly. And then make sure that you're working hard to stay on top of every buyer that inquires about your listings, because registering a buyer in our system is one of the most unique features that BrokerNet has that other companies don't offer.